My name is Geoff Thurman, and I have the distinct pleasure of telling you a story about an interesting young man. Now, it was the 90s, and I was a guy who was traveling the country, going to churches that a lot of the major artists didn't go to because of the towns being so small. Now, I met a pastor by the name of Dan Bird. Dan Bird knew everyone in Casey, Illinois. He was that kind of guy who was magnanimous, he was an encourager, all of those things. We grew to know and love one another very dearly. And as part of that, I got to meet his family. And there was this young guy, 7th grade, thereabouts. Colin. Colin Bird was going to change the world. He knew it then, and he's doing it now. And the reason he knew it then was because of his dad. I'm going to make movies. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do it. And of course, Dan said, of course you're going to change the world. Of course you're going to make movies. You're Colin Bird. That's exactly the way he did it. So, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to Colin Bird.
Thank you, brother. I'm so grateful.
What a pleasure.
And those are great words. Thanks for saying that about my day.
And thank you. Thank you. This has been a path. This has been a journey, dude.
Yeah. We hit a couple trails.
Yeah, a couple trails. So, death, what not to say. Unbelievable stuff. But there's some things that just really sparked me that I wanted to talk about, because you tell these phenomenal stories, and they really kind of there's some things that really hit me as well. So it's kind of related to.
Oh yeah. So the preface of the book, Death, What Not to Say. We felt that it was very important. I say we, like I'm trying to make it really important. I was really desperate to be like, hey, world, I'm going to do a preface. And I talked to the publisher, Jewel, who's incredible. And she says, okay, we've allotted 2 pages for a preface on here. It's like, okay, 2 pages, great. I'm a professional writer, I got you. 5 pages later, every word matters, man. I quit, I won't even do this. Because it was so important. Like, right, the book, the words, the whatever conduit I got to be for that, that's what's important. But what's really important now, in retrospect, that's not a dichotomy, is that people need to know that the person who wrote that, that these pages are safe, right? Like, this is not, I was never that kind of a jerk minister kind of thing, right? People call me preacher. No, I'm not. That's not what I am, all right? I don't know anything more than you know. But here's what I do know. We're here to care, right? So, and people respond to that. If someone has purpose, as you know, traveling the world, being a world-renowned musician and artist, people respond to someone who's honed in on their purpose. And I didn't recognize Mr. Stoudemire. I mean, he's 6'11", so I kind of knew he was someone. And this is what we write about in the preface, is that when I met him, I recognized immediately his purpose. I didn't know who he was, but that he had something. So I'm walking him around this gym, right? And I was kind of a buffer between him and everybody else, coming up and asking for autographs, people coming up and giving him career advice, because they're so smart. Yeah, right. Love them. Those are his favorite people.
You can make hundreds of dollars!
And if you play Detroit.
Right. Yep, sorry.
So then we walk past his gym. We're in the gym and there's a gymnasium. He sees a basketball. And the coolest, this made me cry. And it was this feeling that was kind of familiar. He walks to this ball and he grabs it. And you could hear people, who is that? Other celebrities are up there. People are renowned in their own right. And they're just watching him, and the path clears. He's like a very tall, darker version of Moses. And he goes and he sees the ball. He grabs it. He looks immediately up at the basket and just shoots it. And he walks to the ball, grabs it, goes back, shoots it. That's all he cared about. He gravitated to that. When I was a chaplain, and this is why we wrote the preface, was because people need to know that all we care about at that time was the person who's in the room. I know there are rules and there's regulations and there's all these HIPAA, the stuff guidelines we have to follow, all that bull crap that doesn't involve caring for a human being who's in the 80s and 90 years old. And you got to remember, when people went into the nursing home, it was because 95% of the time was because they just lost their spouse. And the family, honestly, they needed a break. And that sounds terrible to say, but it's the truth.
It's the reality.
It's the reality. And you're carrying all of your money, everything is going into this human being who most of the time, and I'm saying this from being there and hearing these words, most of the time just wants to go. They just want to get off this earth, man. They don't want to be isolated in this room where people are coming in with masks and all this and treating them like, well, that's why they hired me. And who am I? Nothing. That's why I relate so well, because it's just like, I'm just here to talk to you. They became my ball. I was so focused on every single person that I walked into, and the rooms that I walked into and saw them, and just got to become really dear friends with them. Just like I saw this giant NBA legend be so focused on his purpose. And when he did, everybody took notice and they got quiet. And then they would cheer after that. But at first it was like, what is this guy doing? This guy is involved in what he's involved with. This is the thing that makes him him. Yeah. Those people in those moments were what made us us. Those incredible nurses, myself, for the work that I was allowed to be a part of. You know, I wasn't incredible, but those moments were incredible. And just being there with them. When you're honed in on your purpose, people take notice. Yeah, they do. And you can alter feelings, which means you can alter lives a little bit. Right. And so when we're trying to fulfill something powerful, I try to remember that the thing that we're doing, the thing that's powerful is the person. And there's power inside of every one of them. I don't know what Amari saw when he saw that ball. He gravitated to that thing.
And nothing else mattered.
Nothing else. Why would anything else matter? Right. Not the knuckleheads, not the people booing, not because he played for the wrong team. Right. And he's saying that. Nothing mattered. Laser-like focus on those people was what he had. Is what he had on that ball. And that's all we set out to do here. And I wanted to do that with the preface. Say, hey, look, I was never that kind of dude. Still not that kind of a preachery kind of guy. I just care about people, and I cared enough to sit down and write a book about it because I saw other people who cared equally as much, but they got it wrong. And I was the one who got it wrong a lot of the time too. These people are hurting and sad and about to die, right? And they're facing something that we won't know until we're there. We're there. And we will be there. Right. And then we will have family around us who love us. Like you will be there for me after I fall off the thing or whatever. And
that's assuming I can find you.
I have a tendency to get lost. Yeah, about that. But I was right on target and I knew exactly where I was going. Where I was going with it. And when that moment happens, or when your moment happens, and you're lovely Lisa, and the people that you love so much, you don't want someone walking into the room and saying the wrong thing to Naomi, your daughter, when she's grieving over the loss of her father, her truest love. And you don't want them to say the wrong thing. So what we want to do in this, and why I wrote the preface, is say these pages are safe, man. We're just telling stories. We're just trying to help people's hearts here. That's what matters, right? We're not thinking about anything. Right. But helping. Right. So what's the word you use? Not change. Affect. Affect people. Affect. And they can do if people will read this, I may hate it and may use it as the biggest coaster in the world. I don't know. But what I do know is that my heart was there because I honed in on it, and for a year that I sat down and wrote this thing, it was my ball. And that was it. I gave up everything except doing this because I knew that it had a potential to help people. Right. Because every day I was with people who did not know what to say, myself included, and man, did I blow it so many times. Right. And I had a responsibility to write those stories and put them in the book. Right. Because if the guy who's no one's really an expert at anything, right. But if the guy who's quote unquote the expert is making a mistake, you gotta put that in there because then other people will help them.
Well, Stoudemire, you talk about Stoudemire he's going to swish, he's going to be nothing but net every once in a while, he's going to be brick every once in a while. But he picked a ball up again.
Yes.
The ball up, and he shot it again. And boom, 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 boom. It's a drill.
Yeah, you know, when I was in the nursing home, I established what was called the 5-foot rule. The rooms were 5 feet apart from each other, right? So no matter what was going on in I have such a hard life, you know. And whatever I thought what I was dealing with, when I go from one room to the next, I leave that room, that ball, go to the next room, and in between there I'd have a second just to think about what was going on. And I realized I had 5 feet to think about what was going on in my world, and that was nothing compared to what I was about to walk into with that room. No matter how hard it is, you just keep picking that ball up.
Yeah.